welcome into the box score. Terry Collins along with Murphy Fair. Murphy, region finals dead ahead, sub-state dead ahead. I don't like the word sectional. I'll be using sub-state. I'm
Me
old
too.
school.
I'm with you there.
Anyway, it's exciting time for these three teams that we cover. Out of the 10, Gordonsville boys, Smith County girls, and Cannon County boys have reached the region finals.
Yeah, that Cannon County game last night, Tuesday night of this week, was just incredible. A buzzer beater to win by 3, and I was sure we were going into overtime.
Right.
But, it worked out to the best.
It makes for an exciting time. The further you go in the tournament, the more the school, the fan base, everybody gets excited because, hey, there's only 16 teams left in the Class AA, or in Gordonsville case, Class A.
You're so close to the state tournament, yet
Right.
so far,
Right.
because you still got to play 32 minutes of basketball.
You can lose one game, that's the region finals, which means you go on the road. You'd love to win that game in the region championship where you get to host that sub-state game. We figured at one time it was right at 80% of the teams that host the sub-state. Now this is back in the 90s when we figured it, when Smith County was part of that. 80% of those teams advanced to Murfreesboro.
I doubt seriously if that's changed a whole lot in 25 years or whatever.
Let's go ahead and look at the Region 4A girls tournament bracket. You've got Pickett County beating Clark Rains rather handily at East Robertson on Monday night, 72-47. And then East Robertson, the host school, falls to Clay County, 60-56. I don't think there was much doubt, Murphy, that those two teams would make it.
I think so. Even playing at home wasn't quite enough for East Robertson to pull off the upset over Clay County. When it comes to single A girls basketball, the Upper Cumberland rules, I'm telling you.
And Pickett County and Clay County will play for the championship at Livingston. And then they'll face either Copper Basin or Van Buren. Of course, Van Buren, a team that Gordonsville played during the year. And they've played several teams in the Upper Cumberland. So there'll be some familiarity with that. Of course, Copper Basin, Murphy, in the very southeastern portion of the state. Sure. I guess unless you're going down there to Canoe, which is a little cold right now, you're probably not going to Copper Basin for no other reason to see.
No, I've been there several times during football games when John Mullinex was coaching there, and Gordonsville had to go through Copper Basin for about 3 or 4 years in a row back during the 80s,
Region 4A boys tournament, you got Pickett County boys, got up double figures. Colpus starts hitting threes, and they nudge Red Bowling 70-67. Red Bowling, awful impressive first round win as they go to East Robertson, winning by 17. Dustin McKinney got them playing well in the postseason. And then you've got Gordonsville, who beats the top seed, Joe Burns. Joe Burns right around a 500 team. Clay County in that quarterfinal game on Saturday night had a 5-point lead at half, gets outscored 21 points in the third and fourth quarter to lose by 16. Now Gordonsville and Pickett County. Gordonsville for the first time since 1996 will go to sub-state play, so a 28-year drought for the Tigers.
Oh my goodness, there'll be plenty of Tiger fans at that one for sure.
As they'll travel to Cross Plains to play against Pickett County. Two schools that are separated, let's say 70 miles, have got to drive a long way to East Robertson, and they'll play Chattanooga Prep or South Pitt in the sub-state action.
It's like us making 2 or 3 trips to Loretto, over 100 miles from Woodbury to almost the Alabama line.
I was going to say it's a lot longer than that for Pickett County, because Pickett just to Gordonsville, I'm going to guess 75 miles probably.
That sounds about right.
And then on to East Robertson, counting traffic, at least probably close to 75 more, so right at 150 miles. But I'm sure Coach Joseph Amonette, if they played it in Memphis or the Tri-Cities, would be ready to go for sure. Let's look at the Region 4 AAA girls tournament. White County comes from behind against Stone Memorial, got down 6 or 8 points, but came back in the second half, and the state's number 1 ranked team, White County, gets the win over Stone 56-48. And then Upman beats Lawrence County. Lawrence County went to Livingston and got a big win. And, I thought after seeing how close that the Tullahoma Upman girls, of course, Upman girls finish fourth, and then they go to Tullahoma, the district champion, and beat them by 11. And I thought, well, the Lawrence County game may be a close one. It wasn't. It was 37-5 or something like that when I heard the score in the third quarter and couldn't believe it. But White County and Upland now will face off. White County trying to get to the state tournament for the first time, I believe since the 90s maybe, with Kelly Jolly, if I remember right, last time they went to the state tournament. Let's go ahead and look at the boys tournament on the Region 4 AA side, or AAA side, I'm sorry. Upman, a narrow 47-46 win over Stone Memorial. Stone Memorial, of course, went to Central Magnet in Murfreesboro and beat them. Upman beats Marshall County. Now they're in the championship game against Lawrence County. Lawrence County seemed to be the cream of the crop out of District 8 AAA. So 2 district champions playing to see if they'll play South Doyle or Red Bank. Murphy, rarely do you see in the region tournament where both #1 district seeds advance to the championship.
I was going to say that's a real rarity to see the bracket work out the way it was expected to, the way they were placed on the initial round of competition.
Murphy, with you playing from one area to the other, of course, going toward the Chattanooga area, because you don't see those teams that much, you're very unfamiliar with them. I'm sure coaches are scrambling right now, going to huddle and trying to find South Doyle and Red Bank tape, trying to look at it. Not that Upman's not going to concentrate on Lawrence County, not that Lawrence County is not going to concentrate on Upland when they meet at Tullahoma, but still, you have to cram. It's like cramming for a final in college, or that kind of what reminds me of, because you don't know until Thursday night at 8:30 who you're going to be playing, and then you've got till Monday night at 7 p.m. local time to get ready for that game.
Likewise, though, those teams in Chattanooga are looking to find all they can on Upperman and Lawrence County too, so I guess good for the goose, good for the gander, as they say.
And when you look at both of those semifinal games that happened last night, Lawrence County wins by 2 over Tullahoma. Of course, Tullahoma playing at home, Murphy, that's always a big advantage.
It is. And Tullahoma not really known for its basketball, I don't think, but Lawrence County boys and girls have been known as a good basketball country for a long time.
If I'm not mistaken, Tullahoma's coach is Jason Welch, the former Macon County. That's where he went to high school, and I think he's still there. I haven't talked to him in some time, but Tullahoma, of course, won under John Olive the state championship in football, and then made a deep run in basketball that year as well. They just had a great bunch of athletes. Let's get to the Region 3 AA girls tournament. You've got York holding serve. They're going all the way to the championship game. Smith County with a win over Westmoreland, never in my wildest dreams. Of course, they did lose a player in the quarterfinal game when they beat Watertown 35-25. But Smith County gets the big win at Liberty Creek. Back-to-back sub-state appearances. Only the 4th time in school history that Smith County will go to the sub-state. They did it in 73, 78, 2023, and 2024. Only time they went to the state, 1973, under the guy that the gym at Smith County is named after,
Coach
Bill Landry.
That's right. That, again, shows the dominance of girls basketball in the Upper Cumberland. 3 of the 4 teams in the semifinals, all in the heart of the Upper Cumberland.
They'll play East Nashville or Pearl Combe. My guess is East Nashville will win that 4 AA game. Let's look at the 3 AA boys games. Smith County nudged from the tournament. It's 51-47. Jackson County, who's your daddy? That's what Smith County is going to say, Jackson County, because 3 years in a row, Jackson County has knocked the Owls out of the tournament. In the region semis 2 years ago, the region quarterfinals in double overtime last year, and now this year in the region semis. White House Heritage looked very impressive over host Liberty Creek, 62-43. Those 2 teams will meet. They'll play against 2 very athletic teams, either White Creek or East Nashville in sub-state play. Let's go ahead and look at the Region 5 AA boys tournament, which Cannon County gets the buzzer beater as or we'll talk about the girls first. We'll talk about the boys in just a second. Summertown girls knock off Cannon. Sad to see that happen. 57-47 at Loretto, and then Loretto turns around and beats Cascade very handily. So Loretto and Summertown in the finals of that girls.
Terry, without a doubt, that Summertown Cannon County game was the worst officiated game I've ever seen. There were 43 fouls called in the game. Cannon County was hit with 3 technical fouls. I still don't know what 2 of those were for.
Right.
And 4 of their starters fouled out. The 5th starter had 4 fouls at the end of the ball game.
Region 5 AA boys tournament. Of course, Cannon County, as we're flipping the graphic, Cannon boys get a buzzer beater against to win it at the buzzer, 58-55 over host Loretto. I think it was Mr. Pelham, Eli Pelham, makes the 3. I talked to Coach Nave last night. He was pretty tickled. And then Mount Pleasant upset Summertown Murphy, so they'll play East Hickman or Hickman County in the sub-state. Will the Lions of Cannon County, and we'll talk to Jared Nave in just a little bit.
Yeah, it went from depression big time last night, night before last, to last night's buzzer beater, as you said. But one of the best high school basketball games I believe I've ever seen was Cannon with their win over Loretto.
You would think Hickman County may be favored. Of course, Hickman County in Centerville, and East Hickman in Lyles, if I remember right.
Correct.
So that'll be the opponent for Cannon County.
East Hickman's 14-17. They pulled off a couple of upsets in the district tournament over there, and Hickman County's 20-9 right now. So that's the team that's probably going to win that one.
We'll have an interview with Gordonsville boys basketball coach Greg Bibb in our next segment on the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
At DTC, we're proud to provide the communication and entertainment services you need to get the most from today's technology.
Get a $50 bill credit when you add or upgrade your internet package with us. Supercharge your video streaming and high-performance gaming because we've got you covered.
Get the technology you want, backed by local customer service from neighbors you know and trust. DTC Communications, your total communications provider.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
There are some services that you don't need every single day, but when you do, you need them fast. That's the kind of service that Roto-Rooter provides. Owned by the Watson family, Roto-Rooter is your next licensed trusted plumber with quick and dependable plumbing and drain service for those in DeKalb, Smith, and White counties. They can do it all and on your schedule. So go ahead and call the plumbing and drain experts of Roto-Rooter today. 615-215-7686.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Welcome back into the Box Score. We've got Greg Bibb with us, and Coach Bibb, I know we just had you on, but something pretty special happened last night. First time in 28 years that the Gordonsville Tigers are going to the sub-state. Of course, they did go to the state tournament that year as well. Ending that 28-year drought, I know you played against some tough competition in the Upper Cumberland. it's got to feel great to be a Gordonsville Tiger today.
Man, it really does. And, seeing our kids and the way they respond to pressure situations was pretty special. And like we said before, we really came on air. This is a special group. I love my kids, love my team, and I love seeing what's happened for them, the success that they've had, and what we'll have in the future.
Coach, you pretty well dominated the two teams that you've faced thus far in the regional tournament. You knocked off, Merrill High by 27 points, and then you were just about as bad over Joe Burns by 11. Does that help or hurt your team as you go deeper in the brackets?
Well, I think, going against Joe Burns, nothing against Merrill Hyde, Joe Burns is just so much more athletic. And stepping up to the challenge, I think it helps us because we've seen ourselves do it and we know we're capable. And I think it helps us build in confidence. And, you make a free throw or 2 or 3, instead of going 10 for 22 in the fourth quarter, that stretches out to a 20 to 25 point win. So I think it does a lot for our confidence.
Now, I guess Butch Age is your free throw coach. Is that a correct statement?
Well, just in the fourth quarter last night.
Okay, got you. Coach, when you look at your team, you got a lot of different pieces to the puzzle. You got the inside game of Brody Sykes and Eli Adams. Let's first talk about that duo. Brody Sykes, 6'5", I guess, extremely long arm. Adams, he is so smooth to be his size. That's a pretty good 1-2 punch for you.
It really is. And they can hit you in a couple of different ways because Brody can step you out on the floor. He can make a 3 or he can score around the basket. And Eli is just so strong, finishes strong. And he has been probably, and I was talking to Rob Edwards, the Clay County coach, the other day, and he said it before I could say it. He said he's the most improved kid in the district, without a doubt. And the shift that he's had, both physically and mentally, from last year to this, has been absolutely amazing. And I'm so proud of that kid.
Now, would Coach Edwards say that because that Adams hits a free throw with a second to go to beat him in the game at Gordonsville?
That probably influenced it a little bit.
No doubt it did. But Coach, when you look at your team again, of course you got Jay Foster. Everybody knows about Jay and what a great athlete he is on the hardwood, just like he is the gridiron and the baseball field. But you've got some people that go around Jay that fit real well, and Tucker Smith and Tristan Wood and James Peoples to handle the outside presence for you.
Right. Jay's our most aggressive kid, without a doubt. And being that aggressive, that gets him in trouble a little bit to where he gets in some foul trouble. He picks up some charges, and that's what he's done against Pickett County 3 times so far. So we've got to do a better job of controlling that. But I'd rather have that and try to dial him back a little bit rather than try to instill some aggressiveness, because that's the hardest thing in the world to do. So I'm glad that he has that about him. And what he does for us is phenomenal. You got Peoples that's made, I talked about Eli Adams being greatly improved from last year to this. The improvement for James Peoples is the exact same. He's gotten a ton better from last year, does a lot of good things for us. And his first real regional tournament time came this regional tournament. And he stepped on the floor, and immediately a kid, bad closeout on him, he takes one dribble, knocks down a 15-footer. So he is unfazed by it. So I'm proud of him. And then Tucker Smith is just a warrior. He does all the little things. He can knock down a 3 as well. Our best defender, and loves being that best defender and drawing the toughest assignment every single night.
Coach, I've looked at all the pairings for the regional finals tomorrow night, and I doubt seriously if there's any coach who knows the team and the reputation they have that they're going to be playing in the finals better than you do Pickett County. I mean, after all, you used to wear a Pickett County uniform yourself. You've been part of, no, coaching staff.
Coaching, yes.
But you know the kids up there nonetheless. And obviously I would think that would be a major asset for you as you prepare for tomorrow night's game.
Well, I understand what's important up there. That's the main thing. Nothing else is real important as far as any other sports. Basketball rules the roost. And then what we have here, we're starting to gain more and more important. But yeah, you're exactly right. We know them. We know how they want to play. Our kids, this is one of the sharpest teams I've ever coached. Basketball savvy. They understand what needs to be done. They understand. They listen to the scouting report. They try to do everything they can to follow it. And it's going to be a fun night tomorrow night.
Coach, when you look at Joseph Amonette, and of course he being a former Mr. Basketball there, and with the team they've got, I guess you've got to start with Jacob, his son, in the game against them in the district championship game. You did a pretty good job containing him in the first half, but then he goes nuts in the third quarter. It takes all 5 players, Coach, as they were down, I guess, 6-7 points there at halftime, and then they had that huge third quarter push, which proved to be the difference in the game. But it takes 5 players helping in order, and he's still going to get points because he shoots it a lot. But still, you got to have a locked-in team effort in that championship game of the region.
Oh, you do. And what you can't have is you can't have missed assignments. And that's exactly what we had against them in the district finals. The first 2 games of the regular season, we held him to 4 total field goals, 2 in the first, 2 in the second, where he scored it the most. And then he had like 15 in both of the games, but the majority of it came from the free throw line. So we did a really good job on him in that. But third quarter, we lost him too much. Scouting report tells you on a shooter, you got to go over that. You can't go under the screen. And every time we went under that screen, he knocked down a 3. Or every time we lagged behind, we got caught on the screen. We didn't hedge out. He knocked down a 3. So really, yeah, he made the shot, but we lost him a lot when we shouldn't have, on some things we should not have done.
Coach, what district do you line up against, and what concerns you most? You know pretty well the 2 teams that you're probably going to face, regardless of tomorrow night, the teams you'll face early next week.
Yeah, it's either going to be South Pittsburgh or Chattanooga Prep.
Okay. So obviously both of those teams are very athletic and have a lot of speed, probably as much as you guys have seen most of the season, right?
Absolutely. They're extremely athletic, both of them. I've seen a little bit of Chat Prep, not a whole lot, because it just hadn't crossed my path yet. But I watched Chattanooga Prep, South Pittsburgh against Van Buren County, and they have some solid pieces, and they're pretty athletic as well.
I'm not sure Chattanooga Prep even has any seniors yet. That's a relatively new school, charter school, I think. So I know last year when they were involved in the football playoffs last fall, they didn't have a single senior on their football team.
No, and I think it's going to be another year before they have a senior. I think they're full of sophomores and juniors this year.
Coach, when you look at your team, and I don't mean this to pressure you or pressure them, but you've got to feel like you're playing on house money. I mean, you hadn't been there since 28 years. Probably nobody was expecting for Gordonsville to go to the sub-state or the state. How do you keep your guys focused and in the moment and not, oh no, we're in a big game? I know you've played in some big games, but playing in a region final in a sub-state, as you know, through your coaching career, it's just a different level.
It is. And, talking to our guys, we understand what our ultimate goals are. And, of course, it's just like everybody else. You want to end your season some kind of way in Murfreesboro. Once you get there, anything can happen. But you also want to know that those goals are met by meeting and dealing with what's in front of you, because that's the most important thing, and that's a life lesson, right? All your life, you just deal with what's in front of you. You do that, handle that the right way, you're able to move on to the next step. So that's what, and as I said, my kids, they are so intelligent. They're so basketball intelligent, emotionally intelligent, and they're fun to coach. So they understand it's about handling one problem. We got to handle this first before we can move on to the next one. And we had the opportunity to have Andy Landers, former Georgia women's coach, come talk to us. And that's what he talked about, him having success in the NCAA tournament, as many successes as he's had. That's what he told his team. All you got to do is go out and win one game in a row and do that multiple times, over and over and over again. Just go win one in a row. Don't worry about what's next. Worry about what's right in front of them.
Coach Andy Landers' brother Micah, who was at Richland, took the Smith County girls' job for one day and then resigned. So
it must have been a tough day.
Well, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if he had another job opportunity or what, but he was coming up here and didn't.
Coach, Terry mentioned the fact that it had been a long, long time since Gordonsville girls have been to the boys, had been to the state tournament. But people know that people that follow 1A athletic games in Tennessee know about Gordonsville's football. They know about Gordonsville softball. I'm curious as to how many girls off of that state championship Gordonsville softball team are playing for. I know I'm going to the other way with that, but how many of those girls were on Gordonsville's basketball team?
That is a good question. I know there's a few, but I'm not for sure on how many there are.
Well, there was Callie Underwood and Mackenzie Heron and Askew. There's a few of those. But Coach, it has to help to have a Coach Bush, to have somebody, Steven Jackson, who's experienced this. Not that you don't know what to do, because at the previous stops you've been at have been very successful, but leaning on those guys maybe for some advice.
Well, this place has been a blessing to me because this is the most work together as a coaching staff throughout all sports that I've ever seen in any place I've ever been. And it goes hand in hand with what I've always said is winning breeds winning. And winning is a mindset. And if I have it in basketball and Coach Jackson don't have it in football, it's not going to work. But when you have a Coach Hughes, when you have like Coach Ferrell over the last few years, Coach Hughes now in baseball, and Coach Jackson in football, all of us think the same way and we're all looking in the same direction. It helps a ton.
You all benefit each other. It doesn't hurt either one of the teams, does it?
That's exactly right.
That's great.
Well, Coach Greg Bibb, good luck in the championship game against Pickett County. And I know next Monday night you'd love to be playing over at the Tiger Den to go to the state tournament. Best of luck to you and the Tigers.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
There are some services that you don't need every single day, but when you do, you need them fast. That's the kind of service that Roto-Rooter provides. Owned by the Watson family, Roto-Rooter is your next licensed trusted plumber with quick and dependable plumbing and drain service for those in DeKalb, Smith, and White counties. They can do it all and on your schedule. So go ahead and call the plumbing and drain experts of Roto-Rooter today. 615-215-7686.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
And welcome back to the Box Score. We've got Jared Nave with us. He's the head coach for Cannon County. Another ho-hum, not exciting victory last night for your team, Coach.
You ask him about his blood pressure. I'm not sure mine's come down from last night. That was quite an event, Coach.
Coach, you're playing Loretto. They're at home. You're tied. You draw up this great play, and it works, and you hit the three at the buzzer to win it.
I'd like to say it always works out that way, but when it always comes down to the end, it's really not plays, it's players. And it's kind of, you put the ball in the hands of guys that can make the plays, and you put them in positions that they can score, and it's really the players going to make the plays. I don't really take any of that credit at all. They had a couple passes, made a pass to Eli Pelham, and man, he knocked it down. The rest is history at the moment. So,
Coach, you emphasize the teamness of your basketball team. There's been 4 or 5 games, I guess, I've wanted to brag on somebody in particular, and you always remind me, you get me back on the right lane, that it's not an individual game, it's a team game, and that was never exhibited any more than last night. The young man, Eli Pelham, who hit the 3-point shot, he only scored 4 points in the game. There was only one player on this team that scored less points, yet his basket's the one that people are going to talk about for years and years.
For sure. And, I try to emphasize all the time, it's not even necessarily, you can say he played bad, but that's just looking at the points. You don't look at his defense or maybe his passing ability or whatever else happened last night. And, of course, the guy that made the pass, Demarion, that won't get talked about, but I'll never forget that. That was a pass out of a double team, right pinpoint pass for that shot to be set up.
From one corner to the other corner, right?
From one corner out of a double team. Just made a perfect pass. And then, of course, Eli makes a sidestep shot. And it's a true team, and it was a true team win last night. Of course, Theo went down a little injury, and AJ fouled out with 2 minutes to go. Really our two big seniors that have kind of led us. We didn't have them the last 2 minutes of the game, but it's team. You can't just rely on just one guy. When one guy goes down or foul trouble, it's next man up, and that's kind of what we preach. And stuff's going to happen, situations going to happen, and when you practice and you're prepared, ain't no reason to be nervous. We've done this a million times in practice.
Coach, when you look, I guess, I talked to you last night, didn't even know you scored, and you and I talked there for a pretty good while as you had the short trip from Woodbury to Loretto or Alabama or wherever you went. But still, Coach, the reason I guess I was so proud, not that I wouldn't want the rest of your players to get that, but after Pelham suffered the knee injury at Carthage in the district tournament last year, which was a kid, and when I say Eli Pelham, he's just a blue-collar kid. He brings his lunch pail. He works hard. He does the little things for your team that makes it successful, not stat point-wise, but a stat stuffer when it comes to rebounds, steals, assists, setting picks, getting out on the floor after a loose ball. That's the type player Eli Pelham seems to me to be.
Oh, man, that's just – you just love kids that do that, that don't care, if they do score. What would he score, 4 points last night? Man, he was on the ground. He was setting good picks, made great passes last night. And it's true, and of course, last night we called it a banner game. We get to hang a number in our banner in our gym now because we got to birth the sub-state. And so, it's kind of each year and each number, tells a story. And man, as a team, kids remember that. You don't remember, I scored how many points or blah, blah, blah. You just remember you win the game and certain moments with your teammates. And I always call them their brothers. They're in it together. So it was truly a blessing and awesome last night to see them come together and pull it out, because Loretto, man, they're a really good team, very good defensive team, very well coached. And it was a packed environment last night. And our kids always answered the bell, and it gives us a chance as we keep moving forward.
Coach, your kids answer the bell too, but so does the Cannon County faithful. I was so impressed. It was over 100 miles from Woodbury to Loretto, and that was what, 2 nights in a row, excuse me. And I'm thoroughly convinced that they'll pack their part of that gym tomorrow night as well. They really are the sixth man and the sixth women, if you will, cheering on the girls. Yeah. It's so impressive.
Oh, for sure. And I think we've even talked about it maybe before. It doesn't matter where it is. As Terry said, it may have been on the Alabama line, but, man, they'll all show up. It just doesn't matter. Man, they'll drive down there and they support. And that is what's cool, Cannon County schools and community. Man, they'll just pack the gyms. And it is an advantage, in my opinion. It's an advantage when you got a crowd and people behind you. And it was cool, especially after Eli hit that shot, have everybody come together. Man, they was just cheering the kids on, and it was a special moment. And I'm hoping there are a few more of those left in this season.
Coach, back in November, did you anticipate this team having the potential to be where they are right now, one game away from the state tournament?
I mean, it's just kind of. I guess I'm not a real big looking forward guy. I mean, did I think we had the pieces? Of course, yes. But, it's just one day. It's just one day at a time. We're still looking that way. Obviously, we just got done with practice today, and you just keep grinding and keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you just keep trying to be better than the day before. That's practice, that's playing, that's being a better young man. And, you keep doing that stuff, and there's no such. It's not magic. It's just hard work and putting in the time, and you just keep getting better. And a lot of times things just work out that way.
Coach, your team struggled the last few years. I know it had to hurt you to see them struggle because Cannon County's got a rich heritage in basketball, both girls and boys. I know the boys haven't had the success that the girls have, and we're not going to speak on that. But how much good does it do for what you're trying to build, Coach, to get this moment where you're in the region finals, you're in a sub-state, you got a chance to go to the state tournament, for those kids that are in first and second grade or kindergarten to wanting, not that they didn't want to be a line before, but want to be a line basketball player? That's got to help that cause.
Oh, for sure. And and it's almost sometimes, you see the success, and I'll use the girls. They had so much success, in recent time, or in past and in some recent time. And for the guys, it's kind of been spread in between. Had a couple good years and stuff. But it's when you can get and you can reach a certain point. Back to your point, kids now they're coming to the games like, oh, it is possible. Oh, you can do this. Well, how do you do this? You got to get in the gym. You got to put time in. And so it's pretty cool to see, your community, especially back to your point, when you get to this point, and it's like, oh, okay, we can do this. And to me, a lot of the game, obviously it's a lot physical, but it's so much mental. You just believing you can do it, and not worry about, really anything else, but just the guy next to you and wanting to play for the guy next to you. And again, good things happen when you put the team first, and nothing else matters for that way.
Jared, I looked online, and it's been a long, long time since Cannon County went to a state tournament with a boys basketball team. 1985, as a matter of fact, and they lost.
Yeah.
They lost in the first round to a really good Austin East team that went on to win the AA state championship. But to what Terry was referencing. A couple of weeks ago, when the middle school in Cannon County was playing in tournaments all over the state, Matt and I were constantly receiving phone calls during the broadcast updating us on how the middle school teams had done, boys and girls, and they both had exceptional seasons. And it's good knowing that sort of thing, that knowing even though there's 6 seniors on the boys team and 2 seniors on the girls team, there's some really good middle school kids coming up for you and Ashley to work with for the next 4 years.
For sure. And, it really starts there. They start having success, and even the younger kids see that. Now, hey, it is possible. We tried a couple games for them. I would encourage my guys, my high school guys, let's go watch the middle school play. They want, I think they should see you there at games, and then they'll come to your games. And it's just a cool environment, especially community-wise. We can go support them, and they'll come support us. And that's how it should be. We all want to be successful, and really to be successful, it does take everybody, not just us. It takes the fans, the parents, obviously coaches, good players, and it is a fun environment and community to be a part of.
Coach, I know you and your wife are expecting your first child in just a few weeks. How does that compete with the state tournament? That due date.
Boy, you put me on the spot. I'm excited to be a father. I am jacked up, and I was instructed, obviously, if she was to go into labor, I would not be coaching in that game. So if that's where my allegiance lies, yes, I would not be coaching in that game, but respecting it April, so it should not interfere, but hey, you never know.
Good answer, Jared.
Coach, we have to address Theo and his injury, but I think the great thing about that is you've got and you've referenced this when we've interviewed you before, you've got a 6th man in Lucas Phillips who is just like a 6th starter. He scores the ball well for you, extremely smart basketball player. I know you'll miss Theo. I mean, Theo is a very, very talented kid. But having a kid like Lucas Phillips, yes, it's going to hurt your depth, but I still think with Lucas stepping in there, will it hurt? Yes, but I think you've got somebody that can fill in for him.
Terry, Lucas Phillips led the team in scoring last night with 19.
Right.
He did. I even hated to even kind of move him to the bench. It was a very tough decision, and it was kind of like, hey, you're still going to get a bunch of minutes, and it's just going to kind of work this way. And once we kind of all fit into certain roles, man, he has excelled awesome. I mean, again, like Murphy just said last night, he did lead us in scoring. He come off the bench, and, man, he was on it from the start. He was guarding their best player. He was all over it. He was scoring, assisting. I mean, he was just really, really good last night, as many of them were. I mean, it's not just one. It takes everybody. When one's falling down, the other one's picking them up, and that's just how we play. We're going to come at you, not just separate. We're here. I mean, everybody's coming. If one fouls, the other one's picking them up. And but yes, Lucas has fit in just perfectly, and he's a coach's dream, to be honest with you.
Well, Coach Jared Nave, best of luck to you and the Lions throughout the rest of the year, and appreciate you visiting with us.
Terry, Murphy, I always appreciate you having me on.
Thanks, buddy. Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow night.
All right, we'll have head coach Matt Ferrell of the Smith County Lady Owls when we return, as we remind you, you're watching the Box Score.
Friendly, traditional banking at its best. It's what our customers have learned to expect at Citizens Bank, and we're always happy to deliver, with plenty of options for personal and commercial checking accounts, as well as a variety of loan types. We can help you achieve your financial goals, all with a friendly hometown smile. Citizens Bank at 407 Main Street and 61 Dixon Springs Highway in Carthage, 70 Cookeville Highway in South Carthage, and 530 Gordonsville Highway in Gordonsville. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
There are some services that you don't need every single day, but when you do, you need them fast. That's the kind of service that Roto-Rooter provides. Owned by the Watson family, Roto-Rooter is your next licensed trusted plumber with quick and dependable plumbing and drain service for those in DeKalb, Smith, and White counties. They can do it all and on your schedule. So go ahead and call the plumbing and drain experts of Roto-Rooter today. 615-215-7686.
So, go check it out.
Deterring crime. It's the first job of a home security system from DTC Security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation. The time to get started is right now.
Let us help protect your home.
So?
A lot of nice stuff and an alarm.
Don't delay. Call DTC Security now or visit us online.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with one truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
And here with Smith County Lady Owls head coach Matt Ferrell. I accused him the other night on a radio interview of trying to get the county mayor's job. I've been insured with him living in another county. That's not possible. But Coach, things rolling well for the Lady Owls. Back-to-back sub-state appearances. 3rd and 4th appearance in school history.
Yes, sir. We've had a good little run the last little bit since Christmas anyway. And, we're where we thought we would be at the beginning of the year, even though we kind of got off to a little bit of a shaky start. We're where we thought we could be, if things went right, and the girls are playing well right now, and their mindset's good. So maybe we'll see what we can do tonight with York and get another sub-state game on Saturday. So we're excited about it.
Coach, are you a little bit jittery about playing York a fourth time during the season because you caught them in the district tournament as well? Or does that help you? There's not much more about York that you don't already know and haven't already seen, is there?
No, there's really not. I mean, I spent a lot of time today watching the 2 sub-state opponents that are possible because, you got some downtime, and I feel like we know York as well as we're going to be able to know. The girls probably know York as good as I do at this point. So, as far as prep goes, it's good because you don't have to spend nearly as much time at this point prepping, like, for example, versus Westmoreland the other night. We had to do a ton of prep. We only had 2 days of prep of days to do it. So it was a lot harder, I felt like, playing a new opponent than it is playing somebody you've played several times. The flip side to that, obviously, is they know your strengths and weaknesses just as well as you know theirs. So, there's some downside to that as well.
Coach, let's go back to the Westmoreland game. Of course, you got the win over Liberty Creek at home on Friday night, and then on Monday night, a team for the 3rd straight year that you faced in the region semis. Let me flip back here. They beat us bad, 37-17. Of course, that's the year before you got here. 2 years ago, that was at Watertown in the region semifinals. We only scored 17 points the whole game. Last year, flipped the page, 44-41 in Monterey. You pull the upset after losing them 3 straight games, or 3 straight times in the regular season. That scenario is even more evident tonight when you play York after you've lost to them 3 times by 17, 14, and 5, maybe to do the same things you did to Westmoreland a year ago.
Yeah, I mean, we've I've actually all year I've kind of said I feel like York is, in a lot of ways, they're really similar to Westmoreland last year. In some ways I don't think they're as good as Westmoreland was a year ago. In some ways, they're a little better, but I think it's real similar, and we've played them similarly. You know, every one of those Westmoreland games last year, we lost by double digits the first 3 times, but all 3 of those we were, you know, within 5 inside of 5-6 minutes to play. So even though the scoreboard looked like we got handled, I always felt like we were in the game late fourth and had to come out and do things we didn't really prepare. So I'm hoping, you know, we've never went into the fourth quarter against York with the lead. So I feel like if you put them in that position, it'll be interesting to see how they respond to it.
Coach, I haven't seen any of your games other than when you played Cannon County, but how have your girls reacted to adversity this year? Not necessarily against York, but against all competitors. Are they the kind of team that if York jumps out to, say, a 10-point lead early, do they say, here we go again, or do they put it in another gear?
Well, you know, they've responded fairly well. I mean, I think York jumped out to a lead on us at their place. I think they were up 12-2 at their place, and we battled back in it. And, you know, in the district championship, we got down 31-21, and then I think we cut it to 33-30 or something along those lines, cut it back to 2 or 3 there late, and had the ball. You know, had a good look, actually, at a 3 to tie it. So I feel like we've got a lot of kids that have played a lot of basketball. Our older kids going through the experience that they went through last year has really prepared them for anything that they can see in the postseason, I feel like. So aside from the state tournament, obviously, you can't simulate that. But other than that, I feel like they've been in every position that they could be in to be successful, and I think they expect to succeed. So that's a huge part of it.
Coach, the pressure's not on you tonight. It's on York, really. York's 24-5. They've been state ranked all year. They've got a Miss Basketball finalist who you're very familiar with, and Reese Beatty played for you in AAU back in the day. But when you look at this game, it's not the be-all, end-all. If you lose this game, you still got a chance to get to the state tournament. Last year, we lost to them pretty handily at Monterey, and then go on the road to Community High School and lose in overtime to Community, the Lady Vi Queens, who wound up going to the state tournament. But still, you're trying to get a team to the state tournament for only the second time in school history on Saturday night.
Yeah, and that's something that we've talked about a lot. I mean, trying to kind of embrace the history and doing things that, you know, that haven't been done. We've talked about this home sub-state game a lot. You know, never been a home sub-state game at Bill Vance's gym, so we've kind of had that on our mind all year. And you know, getting a chance to get to the state tournament, there's a lot of teams. We talk about this all throughout the year, but there's a lot of teams that would trade places with us. You know, and everybody that's left at this point's good. So from, you know, tonight, I feel like all the pressure's on them. But at the same time, you know, we entered the year, I felt like everybody thought, you know, it's York's the clear 1, everybody else is the 2. And as the years played on, I think it's been pretty apparent to, you know, to most people around that watch a lot of basketball that there are 2 really good teams in AA in our area. And, you know, the more times we get a shot at them, the more likely I think we are to knock them off. So maybe tonight's enough.
Coach, I mentioned that I hadn't seen you all play but once this year, but I get weekly updates from Terry because his niece plays for Smith County. What is your injury situation? Everybody good and healthy and that sort of thing at this time of the season?
Yeah, we've been battling a little sickness. We had a little bit of flu, a little bit of illness going around, but it was really bad over the weekend. I think it's kind of let up a little bit. We've still got some kind of on the mend, but we're as close to 100% right now as you could probably ask for a team to be this time of the year. So,
Coach, when you look, first of all, I need to know which of your players, and I've got a sneaky suspicion, I know 1 or 2 that might do that. They sneak a old Matt Ferrell picture and say, hey, it's game day, let's go. Who's in charge of that? Or has that been leaked through your wife, Ashley? What's happening?
No, I wish it was. I wish I was leaked. No, Erin's private eye, and she goes on there and gets all those old pictures and pulls them up from 20 years ago, I think. And then they go to the locker room and they all share it and have everybody, you know, comment on it and all that stuff. So it blows up, and all I can see on my Facebook for about 24 hours is old pictures. So I don't know how that tradition got started, but I've not done a very good job of killing it.
So they see a lot of pictures of you without all that facial hair, right?
That's exactly right. Yes, exactly.
Coach, when you look, Chloe, she's my niece, been shooting the ball extremely well. I figured up over the last 5 or 6 games, shooting right at 80% from threes.
Wow.
She was 5 for 5 from threes in the Westmoreland win, playing with a lot of confidence. I think the first time we played York, if I remember, or the last time we played York in the district championship, she had 11, Marissa had 11, but everybody else had 3 and 4. Is the key getting 5 or 6 players scoring, 6 to 8 points apiece at least, a key to beating York?
Yeah, I mean, I think we got to have 3 that are at double digits or close to it, and not just to beat York, but to beat anybody. That's just kind of how we're assembled. I mean, we've got 6 kids. Typically, we have at least 4 of them that are in that 8 to 14 mark, somewhere around in there. And then, the other night, for example, I mean, at Westmoreland, I think we had 3 in double figures, and then Marissa guarded the best, their best guard most of the night. She ended up with 5, and when I was looking at the stat line after, I thought she would have had a lot more than that. But I didn't really remember her shooting. So the way we're assembled, it really doesn't matter, who's scoring. We've got a lot of kids that can score. But we need 3 of them. We really need 3 of them being in double figures or close to it against York, just because they're so stingy with the amount of points that they give up.
Coach, are the girls excited about playing York tonight, or are they a little antsy about it?
No, I think they're pretty excited about it. They seem to be pretty relaxed. I mean, we've, for the last 10, 12 days, I really feel like we have been almost too calm in a lot of ways for me. I want to see a little bit of antsy, but I really haven't felt it yet. So I thought the Westmoreland game we would be a little more anxious, a little more nervous, but they really, then they may have been, but they didn't really show it, and they didn't show it at practice or during walkthrough. So I feel like they've kind of, like I said, I feel like we've kind of played to where we thought we were supposed to play to, and getting back to this opportunity and giving ourselves a shot to go to the state tournament is kind of what's been on our mind for a year now. That sub-state game, that overtime loss didn't sit well with us for a while, and I think we've kind of mulled on that for a year now, and we're anxious, if anything, just to get another shot at getting back to the state tournament. So,
Coach, you've got 4 seniors, of course, Erin Enoch, Julia Dickerson, Marissa Spivey, who start for you. They've been great leaders for this team.
Yeah, they really have. I couldn't have asked for a better senior group this year than what we've had. There's 8 freshmen, and they've done as much teaching with those freshmen as I have this year. In a lot of ways, especially with the culture pieces, and just leaving it better than they found it, and trying to show them this is what we do and this is why we do it, and this is what the expectations are. The young kids that are coming in now don't have the same goals. They don't have the same expectations as the group that is seniors and the group that graduated last year when they came in as freshmen. They completely changed the mindset, and this senior group has really had they've carried the brunt of that load, honestly.
Well, Coach Matt Ferrell, best of luck. Don't eat too much steak before the game tonight. Make sure the girls don't as well. But I know it's been a fun ride for the Lady Owls, and hopefully get back to the state tournament for the second time.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having us.
And we've been visiting with the Smith County girls head coach, Matt Ferrell. Murphy, that's about a wrap on this show. Excitement abounds. 3 teams could make it to Murfreesboro: the Gordonsville boys, the Smith County girls, and the Cannon County boys. Best of luck to all 3 of those teams.
It's an exciting time, no doubt, for the Upper Cumberland and everybody all across the state.
Right. And that's another version of the box score. Next week will be the final one. For Justin Malden and Murphy Fair, I'm Terry Collins. Good night from the box score.